The Alumni Award is sponsored by Underwater Construction Corp., and presenting will be Chelsea McDermott on their behalf. Chelsea is a graduate of Penn State, Saquon enjoys that, and currently is attending Georgetown Medical School. So Chelsea to present the 2017 Walter Camp Football Foundation Alumni Award.
The Underwater Construction Corporation has had a long and productive history and relationship in support of Walter Camp Football Foundation. It is our honor to present the 2017 Alumni Award this evening. And if you would just look at the
My mother, she opened my world to culture. She put me in dance classes and in theater classes. Growing up in Philadelphia, we went to Freedom Theater every Saturday. So I had a good balance between a more cultured life between my mother and the groundedness of playing the sport with my father. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a football player first.
During his sophomore year of high school, George shot up in height and started looking down on authority figures.
I failed geometry, and I was in danger of being held back a year because my grades were so poor.
I said, son, come this September, you will be attending Fort Union Military Academy in Virginia.
Now I was around guys that were about getting good grades, working hard, going in early and staying late, and just being an overall good person.
While at Fort Union, George grew from 170 to 220 pounds. During his final season, he averaged 275 yards a game. As an Ohio State freshman, Eddie George had to battle 4 future NFL running backs for playing time.
He didn't shy away from competition. I mean, we had Robert Smith and Raymond Harris and a bunch of other good running backs. I told him, I don't care if you're a freshman or a senior, if you're better than the other guy, you're gonna play.
And I was the goal line running back, and the fans knew when I ran on the football field what was going to happen. I was touchdown Eddie.
In only the 3rd game of George's college career, Ohio State faced number 8 Syracuse on the road in a nationally televised contest. Touchdown Eddie scored 3 times.
During the early 90s, Illinois had to be our number 2 rival. He fumbled on the goal line in a crucial moment. They were able to scoop that up and score, got into that position again. We lose the game, the fans are screaming at him, "We hate you, Eddie."
He could have got down on himself, he could have quit, he could have left here because of the treatment that he got when he did fumble the ball a couple times in that game. Instead of doing that, he worked harder. Stayed here all summer, spent more time in the weight room. Eddie George had the best work ethic of any football player that John Cooper ever coached.
It was the Notre Dame game. His senior year was when he truly broke out.
George rushed for 207 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He had a rocky start, but he's turned the corner and become one of the premier players in the country.
George still had to confront an old foe, Illinois.
Just recalling what happened to him, 2 fumbles, and he was like saying, okay, you took away something from me, and now I'm going to get it back all the way.
And George just breaks off for another big gain. The new Ohio State rushing record for the moment. He adds to it. George slams to the end zone. Oh, nice blocks, George. Hello, 300.
And I wound up rushing for a school record, 314 yards in roughly 3 quarters.
Houston Oilers select Eddie George, running back, Ohio State.
My dad was the one that exposed me to football. He loved runners that would not just make you miss, but just impose their will on you. He loved Jim Brown, loved Walter Payton.
There's no way in the world that you are on first contact going to bring down 2-7. The approach in bringing down Eddie George was have one guy get there, slow him down, and hope that the homies arrive.
the Titans were developing an identity.
Our general philosophy, give it to Eddie and get out the way.
Eddie left, Eddie right, Eddie up the middle.
It was all about Eddie. We're building this team. You want to win some football game. This is how you win. He was the beast in that era.
The Titans were impossible to bring down at home, finishing 8-0 in the regular season.
We knew we were good. We go toe-to-toe with anybody. There was one team in particular, though, that gave us fits, and that was Baltimore. Baltimore.
I was about 220 when I first came in the league. I'm saying, how the hell do you get ready for Eddie George? And then I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to put on some weight. When you know a man is tough, it's when he makes you change your game.
In the days prior to their 2000 playoff game, the Ravens claimed a Ray Lewis hit made Eddie George change his game.
I remember saying he pissed off, so this is not gonna end well. There was one person on my mind the entire offseason. How do I get to Eddie George? The play that's gonna win this game is gonna be made between you and Eddie.
Under 7 minutes to play, with Baltimore leading 17-10.
Good protection. Intercepted by Ray Lewis. He's going to go for a touchdown. And Eddie George is heartbroken.
In 2003, Tennessee drafted Chris Brown to be the running back of the future.
I could sense that tide was changing in the organization. I think we got a wild card bid, and we got Baltimore. And I said, all right, this is it. I said, this could be my last year in a Titan uniform, playing in Baltimore against Ray Lewis.
This will not be a game for the faint of heart.
McNair throws back over the middle, intercepted Ed Reed. 10, 15, 20. Knocked down at the 30-yard line by Eddie George. Eddie George hurt, making that tackle.
The player has a dislocated shoulder. The assumption is he's probably done.
There's no way the last image of me in a Titan uniform with my arm in a sling and I'm done for the day in a playoff game. I could pop this mother back in and let's go.
You don't think about the injury. Think about the man. Because he ain't stopping.
There was one play that kind of turned the whole thing around. Eddie took a handoff, and he and Ray met head up.
Our eyes meet. We've had these collisions before.
I went up on him too high, and all I remember was going through my back.
Eddie just put a stake in the ground and said, this is it right here. This is our game now.
3rd and 1. Eddie George, first down and more.
It felt damn good to go in there and to beat that team and just put, for me, a lot of that nonsense to rest.
The curse of the Ravens, nevermore. Final score, Titans 20, Ravens 17.
Is there life after football? For Eddie George, the answer is a resounding yes. As you just saw, Eddie George played at Ohio State, and in 1995, he rushed for a school record 1,927 yards, scored 24 touchdowns, and averaged 148 yards per game. Eddie was a consensus All-American and named the Big Ten Player of the Year. He won the Heisman, Doak Walker, Maxwell, the Jim Brown Award, and yes, was our Walter Camp Player of the Year. His number 27 has since been retired at Ohio State, and in 2011, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Selected in the first round of the NFL Draft by the Houston Oilers in 1996, he was named the NFL Rookie of the Year. This past November, the NFL Network featured Eddie in its series, A Football Life. This quote from that show epitomizes Eddie George. He was the guy that wouldn't hesitate to put cleat marks on your back. After 9 years in the NFL, 4 Pro Bowls, a Super Bowl appearance, and rushing for 10,000 yards while never missing a game, Edward Nathan George Jr. had nothing left to prove on the field. George went back to school and received his degree in landscape architecture and then an MBA from the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. He started the Edge Group, a landscaping and design company, and became a professor at The Ohio State University. He created the Edward George Wealth Management Group to help fellow athletes protect and grow their assets, and he also owns Eddie George's Grill 27 in Ohio. There was no doubt that Eddie George had built a successful business, but there was still something missing. Enter Julius Caesar. Eddie discovered acting and felt that he shared many traits with this character he was playing. Everything he had felt during competition on the field came flooding back to him when he was performing on stage. George starred on Broadway as Billy Flynn, the male lead in Chicago the Musical. In June of 2018, Eddie will be appearing right here in New Haven at the Schuper Theater in that same role. One day, we may even see Eddie in a one-man show about his own life. Eddie George has appeared in movies, television, and radio, and is a Fox College football studio analyst. Athlete, actor, entrepreneur, Eddie George is a true Renaissance man. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Underwater Construction Corporation and the Walter Camp Football Foundation, please join me in congratulating the Walter Camp Alumni Award winner for 2017, Eddie George.
Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate it. Just keep in mind that paper works nowadays. You don't have to use your phone as much. Like I know, I'm old school like that. A couple things. First, I wasn't as slow as you think on the video. Like when I was in high school, I know it looked like I was running the molasses as I was. It was thick mud at Fort King back in the day. Wow, it's always great to be back here. It's been a wonderful weekend. I had to thank the volunteers, everyone involved in making this an incredible weekend for us players coming back, because you guys doing a fantastic job, whether you're driving us to the airport or getting pizza at night. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please give yourselves a round of applause. I'd like to thank my wife and my family. They couldn't be here tonight. I couldn't be able to do the things that I do without my wife's support and her approval. And she's been tremendous to me, and I wish she was here to celebrate this award with me, but she's out working out west. She's in a singing group called SWV, and they're still continuing to work. Yeah, weak at the knees. She had me weak at the knees. The Walter Camp All-American Weekend, what does that mean? And as I thought about that this weekend, and as I meditated on that, one word came to mind. It was family. And you hit it on dead on, Baker, about being family, because it truly is. This is the oldest All-America team in the country that's doing things, that's active. And to put on a weekend like this, you guys make us feel like family. From the moment we got here, you make sure everything is done, everything is first class, everything is on time. We sign a lot of items. But more importantly, you immerse us into your community. Like going to the hospital and seeing those kids and bringing a smile on their faces when they're facing adversity, when it's really tough for them. That's what real life is about. You know, we all have a platform. We're all given a platform. We all have a voice. We all have gifts. And when we can do that, when we can come back and give to these young people and the capacity that you've allowed us to, it's a give and take. It's a blessing to us and it's a blessing to them. So thank you for putting on the platform what you're doing and allowing us to be a part of your community. I'll keep my comments short. I know that you're all itching to watch the Titans beat up on the Patriots tonight. So I'm just going to keep that short. I'll keep it short. Titans plus 13, I like them to cover, but also to win outright. But what you saw there is just like a glimpse, like a brief portion of the NFL life that they did on me. They did an outstanding job, the NFL Films did. But one of the toughest things for me was leaving the game of football, a game that I truly loved my entire life, and I played because of my father. I wanted a relationship with my father. As you saw there, my dad was a drug addict for most of his life, and he's been through a lot, and he took my family through a lot, and I wanted nothing more than to have a relationship with him. But through the game of football, it allowed me to do that. So once that football player died, once that was done, it was over. It was completely it. So through that, through the arts, entertainment, my entrepreneurship, and through education, I was able to redefine my life. And that's where I am today. And I've been able to do it on the power of 4 pillars that I use in my life. That's the mental pillar, social pillar, physical pillar, and spiritual. I'll talk about each one individually. And you can take these pillars and apply it to your life, your business, however you want to do it. But this is what's really, truly helped me transform and transition. The mental pillar, what a man thinketh he is. What you put your thoughts to, what you're putting into your mind, what you're reading every day is who you're going to become. And often, your thoughts are going to lead to your behavior, and your behavior is going to lead to your brand, to your reputation. So it behooves you to read something of quality every single day, whether that's scripture, whether that's the Wall Street Journal, whether that's business. So if you're putting garbage in, garbage is going to come out. If you're putting quality in, quality is going to come out. That's the mental pillar. Social, the right people. I couldn't have made the transition in my life without my wife, without my family. It's very important. Being a father is a huge responsibility, because you often think that, man, as a dad, you are setting the blessings for your children's children. And what they don't see you do in the darkness will come out to the light. Meaning that whatever you're doing in your private time, in your private moments, and you think it's not going to affect your family, it will. And I speak from experience. So that social component is so important, to have the right people around you in the business, in sports, and so forth. So ask yourself the question, who is in your circle that no longer needs to be there? Who's not supporting you? Who's not helping you fulfill your dreams in life and go to the next level? So that social component is so important. The physical. Some people look at me, you might think, Baker, that I can play football again, and it ain't happening, boss. Not with these knees, not with this back, and certainly not with this head. It's not going to happen. I just try to stay physically fit to keep my wife interested in me still. You know, when she met me, I had a 6-pack, and I'm holding on to 4. So that's what it's about nowadays. But seriously, health is your number one asset in life. As I've gotten older, I'm seeing old teammates coming up with ailments and different diseases. And it's so important that you keep, guys, trust me, keep it going. Do yoga, do swim, do Pilates, whatever it takes to keep the wheels going, because you don't want to fall off physically. So it's so important that you keep that physical component going. And last but not least is the spiritual pillar. God has brought me through so much in my life. Took me from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Fort Union Military Academy. Got through that, went to Ohio State and fumbled twice and didn't see the field for 2 years. Got through that, got me to the NFL and made it through that. Started 10 games, started all my entire career, rushed for 10,000 yards without missing a game. And then transitioned me through all of that to get an MBA, to starting my own business, and to sing on Broadway. You know there's a God. I mean, there has to be. So I say all that to say, when you have all four of those pillars working in harmony together, and when you're coming up against adversity, and you're coming up against the setbacks and failures in life, and even successes, you're able to navigate through that and through anything else. So keep that in mind. God bless you. Thank you, Walter Camp, for electing me as the Alumni Award winner this year. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. And go Titans.